Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more 9-Rip, continuing Hibiki's route, still in Chapter 7. And we were hanging out in the classroom talking about the spirit board and whatever, and we were like, I'm gonna go to the nurse's office, and he's just pouting and sulking and being a sad sack in the classroom. So I began walking the halls by myself. I can't believe he didn't come along. After that, I waited for a little while, but Hibiki never came. Fine. I'll go fucking fall in love with Kureha then. I guess I could have read those 2 lines last time, but there was a scene transition. I began to think about her alone in the classroom. I thought about the regrets I needed to address if I was going to cross over. I lied to her. My regrets, they wouldn't just go away. And not for a while, at least. Without a doubt. Perhaps I should have told her about my regrets. No, I couldn't do that. She had stayed here for me. No doubt she was worried about me. And if I told her, it would worry her to no end. Better for her to just think I'd found a way to be happy. I considered doing something that would cause her not to care about helping me anymore. But could I do that? Could I do something that would hurt her? No, I had to. I absolutely had to. For her sake, I had to. Peering into my despair, I couldn't help but laugh. How terrible. I knew nobody could hear me, but I muttered the words with a wicked smile on my face. Is he a little crazy? Is this where his emotional instability comes into play? Look at him. Fabulous. That is such a fucking idol boy pose. I swear to God, that's ridiculous. He's showing off his fucking noose. the choice to do that was just you're you know what that is. He's just like, girl, check out my noose. And there's just something about it that doesn't suit Hibiki's little slightly psychotic sad sack character. It's just a little out of place for him, but I love it anyway. It's pretty, but it is. He's like, hey, check out my noose, modeling it for the latest fucking Dolce and Gabbana line or something. You know what I mean? He just got finished in a freaking performance, and that's his end performance pose. I don't know. It's. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It just you're for Hibiki, you're that doesn't really suit you. It just seems a little out of place, which is just funny. In a daze, my consciousness came back to me. That's right. I came back to the nurse's office by myself. I was discouraged that Abiki didn't come with me, so I decided to rest and closed my eyes. How long was I asleep? I felt like I had dreamed something, but I couldn't quite be sure. Whatever the dream was, I was glad it wasn't a nightmare. That's right. Before I fell asleep, I put the bag with the Khalifa flowers near my pillow. I raised myself up and began to look around. Next to my pillow, I saw the small bag and... How are you feeling? Hibiki was there, too. Good. I'm glad he came. Yeah, because he's going to act all psychotic and make you run away from him or something. The moment I saw his face, that nervous feeling crept back into my heart. His expression was normal, but his eyes were shaking. He was still worried about me. I feel great. Seems like I just needed to rest before my head starts to hurt. That's good to hear. The Grand Warder said something similar. That sleep is important for you now. That's right. I'll make sure to take frequent breaks from now on. I mean, sleep is important because we're alive, not just now, but also before. But it's harder to tell because there's no time of day, so you don't know, have I been running around for 12 hours? Has it been 1 hour? And then the air's here is weird, so, And there'll be no need for that. Huh? Hibiki stared back at me, his face calm. Or I thought he was calm, but he turned away from me. What is it? This strange feeling. What is it? I don't need to tell you, right? You already know. Could it be... Is he upset about what happened in the classroom? The relief in my heart turned ice cold. What should I do? Tell him I'm not. I'd be like, I'm not going home. Although he wants you to go home, so I feel like asking, should I go home? Is like but I feel like the right answer is, I'm not going home, because deep down, that's what he wants you to say. Yeah, I'm not going home. Yeah. Even if you look at me like that, I'm not going home. I'll be here as long as time allows. Despite feeling nervous inside, I spoke boldly. Hibiki smiled brightly back at me. Yeah, I know that. At first glance, Hibiki seemed to be his normal self, and yet, yeah, I was like, he said, oh, I have to do something wicked, and then, like, all of a sudden he's here, and you're like, I'm not going home, and he's like, yeah, I know, and you're like, this is ominous and bizarre. His appearance was unmovable, like he was made of wax. It makes me happy when you'll say you'll be by my side. However, aren't you worried you'll give me the wrong idea? Huh? I know the reason you're staying here is for me, but I wonder if there aren't some special feelings wrapped up there as well. Oh, is he trying to, like, you think he's like, oh, I'll just be like, oh, but you have to be here, you're going to be in love with me, and then that'll chase her away because she's not in love with me, and, like, because that's really odd. I thought you were going to do something a little more sinister, to be fair. Unable to say anything, I was forced into silence. I still didn't know how to deal with the emotions. It looks like I was wrong about that. Sorry, it didn't mean to cause you trouble. Seeing Hibiki's bitter smile, I wanted to find some way to respond to him, but I couldn't find the words to say. I still don't know for sure, but I think you might be right. In the end, I finally said it. I feel so pathetic. He must be so disappointed. Deep in my own thoughts, I glanced over at him. Huh. Hibiki's cheeks were flushed. And when our eyes met, he quickly turned his face away from me. You shouldn't say things like that. A guy might get the wrong idea, you know. He might start to have hope that... What he said just now, those were Hibiki's true feelings. Anyway, let's get back to my search for happiness. Now I'm sure we'll be able to find it. Huh? Hibiki, does that mean you know what it is that'll make you happy? Yes. I was filled with joy as Hibiki nodded back at me. Well, shall we? With a bright smile, Hibiki opened the door to the nurse's office. With the way things were before I fell asleep, it didn't seem like he'd be able to find what makes him happy so easily. Hey, maybe we're still on a sinister path, like he's still going to do something creepy and weird. Because we're only in chapter 8, so... Oh, God, I didn't read that, sorry. Thinking about it rationally, it all seemed a little strange. No, I should trust him, should we? You're not coming? Of course I am. Hibiki walked one step ahead of me, his stride brimming with determination. So where are we going? You'll know when we get there. That was all he said, and he kept walking. But it was rather quick, wasn't it? With only the sound of his footsteps between us, I broke the silence and asked him, You think so? Yeah, I never expected you to find what makes you happy so quickly. I thought about it the whole time you were asleep, what my happiness is. Suddenly he stopped. Then he turned and looked back at me. You know when something is so close you can't see it? At that moment I felt goosebumps on my skin. Is he gonna fake threaten to kill us? Because that happiness is you being here with me, dead, like whatever, and then thinking you're gonna run away, screaming, and then you're gonna be like, alright, I give up on Hibiki, but... Thinking about it by myself, I finally understood. So what should I do? His eyes, his expression, there was something there that scared me. Yeah. Why is he thinking like this? I couldn't rid myself of the feeling that this wasn't the person I'd been with until now. Isn't it wonderful how we can find happiness in the places we don't notice? I feel pretty happy in my everyday life now. You said that before, right? Yes, that's exactly right. As he spoke, I started to think, what is Hibiki thinking right now? Where is he taking me? Just a little further. Wanting to know his true intentions, I kept speaking to him, and yet I couldn't understand his true feelings or intentions. We finally arrived at the stairs. This place? This place has something to do with what will make you happy? He's going to shove me out of the mirror and lock me out. Yes, very much so. I'd like you to try and remember. Remember? Does this have something to do with me? Of course it does. A fearfully beautiful, chilling smile appeared on Hibiki's face. And now the sinister music. Step after step, he came closer and closer. Hibiki? His smile filled me with dread, so I took one step back from him. You want to help me cross over, right? He quickly closed the gap between us. This isn't the Hibiki I know. Can you hear me? You said you wanted to help me cross over, right? Yes, but... Hibiki took another step toward me. Right now the mirror seems like it must be behind us, because it's not. Although weirdly, the mirror should be behind him, the way they set up the background with that wall across from the stairs. But, like, I feel like he's going to shove us out the mirror and lock us out. Hibiki took another step toward me. Without turning my eyes away from his, I took another step backwards. I felt my hands and back press against the cool, firm wall behind me. The mirror. That's right. Here on the landing, the mirror should be behind me, right? Yep. I should have been able to pass through here. But now, if you keep silent, I can't know for sure. Oh, I thought he was going to shove me through the mirror, but okay. He's definitely trying to scare us and make us not want to help so that we give up and, like, run away from him. Like, I don't think he's really, like, sinister like this, but... In front of me, I saw a depressed-looking Hibiki. I've been locked in here. Passing through the worlds required Hibiki's permission. In other words, the only thing that could keep me trapped in this world was Hibiki. I mean, Seiya did make that, like, I would trap her in here. My greatest happiness was that you accepted my feelings. He was so close that if I stood up even slightly taller, I could feel his breath on me. So, I want to feel it. I want to feel the warmth of your lips. His pale, mask-like face and white lips drew closer to me. In response, I accept his feelings, crouch down. I feel like if you crouch down, that's going to prove to him that this is not... You know what I mean? That would be bad. So I feel like we accept his feelings. Woo! Another save. Probably our last one, because I think we only had 4? Actually, no, we had like 6 or something in Kureha's. But one of them was the common route save. So who knows? We might have another one. Yeah, accept his feelings. I've got to get my head on straight. If this is what he needs to cross over, I wanted to accept his wishes. I gently placed my hands on his chest, then... Oh. It's kind of like... almost like a CG. I wonder if it's going to open up into one. I felt a cool breath on my lips. But no matter how long I waited, his kiss never came. Is it going to open into a CG? Yeah, there we go. Oh, he looks so sad about it. He's like, I was expecting you to run away, and... oh. Why? Why aren't you rejecting me? She's so fucking pretty in this one. We were so close. If either of us moved an inch, our lips would meet. And yet Hibiki's face contorted with frustration. That was the face of the kind boy I'd come to know. If you don't reject me, I'll touch you. I'll end up stealing some of the warmth within you. His voice shouting at me from so close, I couldn't help but tremble. I'm scared. But this fear was different from before. I'll be all right. It's what you want, right? In that case, I suppose a little is all right. But you'll... like, you know, he's got me pinned against the mirror. I'm into that shit. I'm into it when I get pinned against things, so this is a little odd, I'm not gonna lie. But he looks so sad. You know? I don't mind. Even if it shortens my life, that's okay. I surprised even myself with the words that came out of my mouth. Is that it? Finally, I understood how I felt about him. I've become rather taken with him after all. She's like a 1940s gangster. Are you sure we didn't die in the 40s along with him? I've become rather taken with him after all. So old-fashioned. I love it, though. I feel like we should speak like this more often. Not like, I think I'm in love with him. Like, I've become rather taken with him. It's just, it's good, but I mean, it's so old-fashioned. Why? Once I acknowledged it, I realized the emotion fit perfectly with how I felt. Why? Why do you feel that way about me? That's crazy. We were in a slightly awkward position. We are pressed against a mirror. It is hot. Our skin never touched. But I could tell from his reaction, this wasn't what he wanted. But if this is what was needed to help Hibiki pass over, it's not crazy. I just want you to be happy. We kissed him! Oh, girl! She's so good! She's like, I'll kiss him then if he's not gonna kiss me. Love it. I love it. I pressed my lips on top of his. I felt his cold, soft lips on mine, but his lack of warmth made him all the more dear to me. Even though our lips were touching, I felt a chill run through me. And suddenly... hate. The hate in his heart entered my brain. This feeling. He shoved me out of the fucking mirror. I knew he was going to do that. I felt myself being pushed away when my whole vision turned red. Thank you. Opening my eyes, I saw him looking down at me through the mirror. I figured this is what he was going to do. He's going to, like, come up, we're going to be like, and then he was just going to shove me through the mirror. But no, he, like, pinned me trying to, like, he still shoved me through the mirror. But yeah, he was trying to scare us away. Didn't expect us to actually respond to his feelings. But now he locked us out of the mirror. I think I can cross over now. He's lying. The smile on his face masked the pain he was feeling just below the surface. You're like, don't lie to me. Wait, Hibiki! Goodbye. The mirror flashed and his figure disappeared. I mean, he's still in there. Then the only thing I saw in the mirror was my own reflection. No. I touched the surface of the mirror. My hand merely pressed against the cold glass. Is it just a regular mirror again? Did Hibiki shut me out? No, that wasn't it. Maybe he really has crossed over. Hibiki... For a moment, I stared in front of the mirror, motionless, deep in thought. For some time after that, I merely stared at the mirror, deep in thought. It appeared to be nothing more than an ordinary mirror. It didn't betray the slightest hint of what had become of Hibiki. A wraith could appear here at any moment. For now, I should get to safety. Walking alone in the blood-red world, there was a buzzing in the air that pricked my skin and left me uncomfortable. Somewhere along the line, I got used to the mirror world's silence. Maybe that's not right. I got used to being next to Hibiki. I need to stop with these dark thoughts. First things first, I should try and find Kureha and Yui. Suppressing my anxiety, I made my way to the nurse's office. There, I found only Yui. Looking around, I saw no signs of Kureha, which is probably better because it's going to make me sad. You're like having a moment and you're like, oh, okay, Hibiki, I'm into it. Like, he's not my favorite character, but like, okay, so far it's not bothering me. Like, okay, I'm vibing with it. We're having fun here, right? Like, but you can't show Kureha to me and then make me be like, romance Hibiki. Like, don't keep showing me my other hot side pieces. It makes it hard for me to stay in the Hibiki zone. You know what I'm saying? I've been wondering about you. What happened since I last saw you? How's Hibiki? Well, he crossed over. At least I think he did. What do you mean you think? Perhaps seeing my depressed face, Yui's expression changed slightly as well. You don't think he actually did? I just don't know. He said he thought he was going to cross over soon, but I didn't see it with my own eyes. And I think he was lying to me. I thought about going back into the mirror to check, but it suddenly became a normal mirror. I see. Oh, you shouldn't look so down. If he were able to cross over, then the world inside the mirror would disappear also. Isn't it possible that's what happened? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe Hibiki really did cross over. But if that were the case, what did I see when we kissed? Perhaps it's like what Saya said before. Right. For the thoughts of a ghost to reach me, certain conditions needed to be met. When you touch a ghost, you can see their thoughts, right? His thoughts were stained dark, or his regrets were... I think it's his regrets were strong. His thoughts are stained dark, but those are also... Well, actually, I feel like his thoughts were stained dark, not his regrets, because I don't know if hate is a regret. You know what I mean? Would that count as a regret? I guess. So... Ooh, another save file. Okay, so there you go. We have the 5. Okay. Because Kureha had an extra one for the common route end. His regrets were strong. Okay. Hey, Yui, do you remember what Saya said before? About how if I touched a ghost who has strong regrets, they would pass on to me? Yes, I do remember him saying something to that effect. But I remember him also saying that as long as the thoughts were not tinged with darkness, they would be of no danger to you. Come to think of it, when I touched Hibiki, I didn't have the same headaches or difficulty breathing I had before. So Hibiki overcame the darkness within him. Huh, but his regret was that he wanted to be happy. He said so himself. If he was happy when he was kissing me, where did those negative thoughts come from? I thought back to the emotions I had felt the first time he touched me. I'm scared. It'll be okay. I have to die. It was things like that, right? Those words were about finding a way to be happy and not being killed. That's why he killed himself. But those feelings were different than what I had just heard. Hate. That was clearly what he said. The visions I had seen were brimming with intense hatred. Could that be what's really holding him back? Does that mean that Hibiki has been lying to me? Yes, because he's basically admitted that in his own mind, in his own, when we're in his perspective. Hey, if you're not sure if Hibiki crossed over or not, are you going to... All we have to do is look at that paper and see that flower's still not colored in. Before, when he told me about the time that he was kidnapped by Isao Tsukigami, he told me he wanted to kill him. Thinking about that was the only joy I had in that dark place. Is that what would make him happy? In that case, Hibiki's real regret is... My mind drifted to the worst possible conclusion, and the blood drained from my face. Hey, are you listening? Sorry, I got lost in my own thoughts. Listen, leave Hibiki to me. I think I've come up with a great solution. Got it. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Right, thanks. I'm gonna have him stab an imaginary version of your dad. But there's no way he can kill him. I mean, Hibiki's a ghost now. Huh. Speaking of which, where is Isao Tsukigami? Everything happened because he was searching for his lost daughter. Given the circumstances, I hesitated to ask Yui directly, but I knew I had no other choice. I mean, because you would think, how would her father, when he died, have crossed over and he would still be wandering around looking for Yui? Yui, I'm sorry to ask this, but did your father pass away already? The look on her face changed, and she cast her gaze downward. He would have had to. The man was already an adult 70 years ago. He'd be over 100 now. You know what I mean? Provided he was like 30, he'd be like 100. Not many people are living that long. My father is currently in hell, being punished for the many people he killed during his lifetime. Once his sentence is up, his spirit's free to leave hell. But if his spirit breaks under the weight of his punishment, he'll face a second death. What do you mean, a second death? He'll truly be gone. Disappear out of existence in all worlds. Second death. Despite being dead, humans still have a soul. When that's destroyed, they face a second death. They become nothing and cease to exist in all realms. I was surprised, but so frightened by the prospect I was unable to speak. I had no idea what to say to Yui either. He was sentenced to 100 years in hell. Even if his spirit does get released, it'll be many years from now. Hey, Seiya! Can we borrow him? Seiya had said something similar. The punishment in hell would fit the gravity of the crime. Here's the thing, maybe because it's not Seiya's business, or he just doesn't care, or he's like, hey, that's on you. But, if Seiya knew that the only thing holding Hibiki here was he just wanted to, get a couple of stabs in on Isao Tsukigami, she'd be like, here you go, here's a knife, torture him a little, whatever, he killed you. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Can't let that happen. But you know what I mean? That would certainly, maybe help him cross over. Given how close Hibiki is to Seiya, there's no doubt Seiya would have told him that Isao Tsukigami is in hell. Isao Tsukigami, master of the Tsukigami family, father of Yui, and the culprit of the divine invocation incident. For some reason, he died mysteriously in his mansion. After death, he went to hell and is still detained there. He was sentenced centuries in hell. Many have been driven mad by lesser punishments. In that case, why not place Hibiki somewhere other than the school? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near the place I was kidnapped. That can't be good for his mental state. Yes, well, I chose this place. Maybe Hibiki chose this place because thinking that someday when Isao Tsukigami's punishment is over, he would return here looking for Yui, and then Hibiki would have his revenge. Think he's been planning that? That's right. At that time, when I asked why he was staying so close to where Isao Tsukigami was, where he was murdered, Seiya was about to say something before Hibiki interjected. So, if your father's spirit's released, does that mean he'll return to the school? Yes. Well, I can't say for sure. I know this place holds a lot of memories for him. It's likely he would return here. Yep. Then that means Hibiki's waiting for Isao Tsukigami to be released from hell. Did he want to give Isao Tsukigami a second death? So then, all that stuff about crossing over, all of that was a lie? Yeah. Thinking back on it, it made sense why Hibiki was always trying to get me to go home. Hey, does this have something to do with Hibiki? No. No, it's not that. I just happened to run into a ghost on the way here that was a little strange. Got me thinking, you know? Really? Then they might still be wandering the halls. I'll go look for them. Despite my embarrassingly bad lie, Yui left the room with a serious look on her face. You should have just told her, yeah, I'm pretty sure Hibiki wants revenge on your dad. Sorry, Yui, but I just couldn't tell you that Hibiki wants to kill your father. Besides, I still didn't know for sure. I should go speak to Hibiki. Yeah, he ain't gonna listen to you, though. Hibiki, come out! You're still in the mirror, aren't you? I want to talk to you. Please just come out. I continued to call out to him from in front of the mirror, pounding on it with my fist. But not once did I receive any sort of reply, nor could I find a way inside the mirror. But I know Hibiki's still in there. I concentrated with all my might and placed my hand on the mirror, and I felt something beyond the cold, hard glass. What was that? I felt some kind of faint pulsating coming from it. There must have been some sign of him. That is, unless I just imagined it. Unless he's standing there watching you, but you just can't see him. Either way, I couldn't give up. I wouldn't give up. Listen, Hibiki! I'm not going home until you come out here! I continued screaming into the mirror, but nothing changed. What on earth is all this noise? Suddenly, I heard a voice from behind me and spun around to face it. Oh, it's Kuraiha. Okay, I figured it was Seiya, but anyway. What on earth is all this noise? You know, they could have just told you who it was. Are you trying to get attacked by a wraith? Kuraiha, you can't show up when I'm trying to romance Hibiki because it takes away from him a little bit. Because you're so precious and I love you so much. Seiya shouldn't show up at all because I love him to death. What are you doing out here by yourself? Did you and Hibiki get in a fight or something? Well, not exactly, but I feel like it'd be okay to tell Kureha all the details, but I knew that if we talked here, there was a chance that Hibiki might be able to hear us through the mirror. Well, can we go somewhere without a mirror? I asked in a small voice, and Kureha nodded back at me. I don't think there's a mirror in here. Sorry, I go to the school and I wasn't even sure which rooms do and don't have a mirror. my brain was like, go to the bathroom. That would be a bad idea. There's mirrors in bathrooms. The nurse's office might not have had one. You might have looked around. It's one thing to know where the classrooms are. It's another to know about the mirrors. As I sat down in a chair facing him, I bowed my head to Kureha. And because you wouldn't know if there's one in the back wall of the library, you know what I mean? Actually, I'm in a bit of trouble. It might take a while, but would you mind hearing me out? Of course. I don't think Hibiki was able to cross over, but he won't respond to me anymore. Kureha listened quietly until I had finished telling him everything. Then, with a difficult expression on his face, he finally spoke. So that's what this was about. I had a feeling. Really? I've always felt a kind of darkness coming from Hibiki. But the more time he spent around you, the more it seemed to lessen. The more time he spent around me? Yeah, I think because of you his darkness is somewhat diminished. Perhaps because he found something more important to him than killing Asao Tsukigami. You. Kureha's don't be jealous, sweetie! Don't look sad. Don't look forlornly or sad for any reason. I just want to pet him and be like, it's okay. I still love you most. Okay, I love Seiya most. We haven't even gotten to his route. Doesn't even matter. He's gorgeous. Okay, but like between you and Hibiki in this Ghosts of the School, you're my favorite. There's no question. If that was true, it would make me very happy. If I could be a presence that brought him closer to the light, well, that might be a bit presumptuous of me. Well, that's why I was so relieved. I figured with your influence, you could clear the darkness that surrounds Hibiki and help him cross over. And then I could have you all to myself. He's thinking it's somewhere in his mind. Hibiki had told me so much. I mean, I would assume that, like, yes, okay, Kureha and Hibiki kind of already have a little bit, like, oh, they kind of like you a little bit, but then, like, when you go off with Kureha, Hibiki's like, oh, okay, anyway. And he's like, oh, bummer. But, like, kind of lets it go. And, like, now, because you've been hanging around Hibiki so much that even though Kureha was like, wow. You know, that because you aren't spending as much time with him, you know, he's like, okay, she likes Hibiki and that's cool. You know what I mean? But it still hurts me because I know how Kureha feels. You know what I mean? If I did Hibiki first and then did Kureha, I don't think I'd be like, oh, it's okay. It hurts me when it's characters that I love, thinking that I'm making them pine. Anyway. Perhaps that too had helped lessen the darkness that he'd struggled with. But all I could do was listen to him. I can't actually help him cross over. Besides, he didn't even seem to want to cross over. That's why he hid his true intentions. Knowing him, because he cared about me, he didn't want to tell me his real reason for staying here. That's what I thought. And yet I couldn't help but be a little shocked. No, that was just him being selfish. In that case, maybe it's time you showed him how strong you really are. Hibiki didn't tell you about his real reason for staying here, because he thought you couldn't help him achieve it, right? Maybe it's time you changed his mind. Time you show him how strong you really are. Honestly, the kiss I gave him felt like it took a lot of courage on my part already. The act was proof I trusted him. So what else can I do to get him to trust and believe in me? To make him trust me. Ow! That's not nice! You just beat me for no reason! You're being a jerk! You want me to, like, pet you, but then you, instead of booping my hand or, like, you know, sometimes he'll, like, nibble on you, but this time he was like, arr, and it's like, you're a big fat dick face. Just for that, I'm going to grab a pin feather and pull it. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that. I will try to get him out, but you won't let me. He's like, that's why if you rub with one finger,
and pat my head. I know you can't get the pin feathers out, but if I do that, he's like, if I see 2 fingers coming at me, then I know you're going to pull at my pin feathers. I'm not pulling at him. I'm trying to gently rub them apart. Trying to gently rub your feathers. But I know they hurt. I know, buddy.
Anyway, I can't be weak. I have to find a way to force him out of the mirror.
Well, that's more like it. That's the spirit.
I have no doubt he's watching us through the mirror, so how can I make him want to come out? Oh, Kureha, you're so hot and manly. I think we should fall in love and get married, and I should stay in the ghost world with you forever. Hibiki would fly out of that motherfucking mirror in a heartbeat.
I've got an idea. But you're gonna have to be strong if we want it to work. You think you can do it?
Yeah, I know I can. With that, Kureha's eyes gleamed, and he smiled brightly. We're gonna fake a romance. What's with that smile? Kureha, just what did you have in mind? You should have asked this before. I can do it. Without a second thought, I dashed up the stairs.
Wait! I told you to wait!
Is he going to pretend he's attacking us? I have to get to the mirror. I just have to get to the mirror. This is all an act. I was never much of an athlete, but I flew up the stairs as though I was running for my life. Oh.
That's because of you the flowers of the 7 wonders are blank. You'll pay for this with your life.
He took the sword out? He didn't tell me about that. Yeah, we're supposed to be running like Kureha's going to attack us. Like Hibiki would leave for a hot second. Well, he's gonna, but think about it logically. I can't run anymore. When I reached the bottom of the 2nd floor, I tripped over myself and fell to the floor. This is bad. I should have run a little more. Kureha looks dizzy. He's like, really? I'm so disappointed in you. You're supposed to run further. Kneeling on the floor, I turned around to see Kureha, who stared at me with one eyebrow raised. He's like, seriously?
Finally resigned to your fate, I see.
I've got to back up. A smile crept up on his face, and I saw him prepare his blade for the final blow.
With your death, my spirit will be at ease.
No, please! Someone save me!
No matter how much you scream, nobody's coming. There's nobody here to save you.
Standing above me, he raised the blade higher and higher above his head. Hibiki, are you not coming? Hibiki! Just then, could you imagine Kureha's like raising them higher and higher and higher, and it takes him 5 minutes. He's like, my arm is gonna break if Hibiki doesn't come in. I can't raise this any higher. He's like, what are you doing? I'm winding it back. It's now behind my head. It's gonna be the biggest. I'm really gonna stab you. You know what I mean? He was slowly raising it, and you're no, or like acting in slow motion, waiting for Hibiki to get his ass out of the mirror. Just then, Hibiki, he stepped in between Kureha and me, stopping the blade with his arm. Why are you doing this to her? Hibiki stared furiously back at Kureha. Now's my chance. Immediately, I hugged his legs. Whoa! Perhaps because of the force of my embrace, he toppled over right then and there. I've got you! Huh?
Mission accomplished. That was some pretty impressive acting. You ran so hard you made it look like you were in real pain.
Acting? That wasn't an act. I was running so hard I was in pain. Also, you didn't tell me you were going to chase me with your sword.
Element of surprise. I thought it'd make the whole thing seem more real.
That was a little too real. Huh? In the midst of our conversation, Hibiki just looked back and forth at us with a puzzled look on his face while he's on the floor and I'm planted on top of him. I'm like literally sitting on him to keep him from moving. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Sorry, but I had to find a way to get you to come out of the mirror. Kureha came up with the idea for this production.
Not bad if I do say so myself.
That's terrible. You lied to get me to come out of the mirror? Well, then that makes us even. Hibiki, looking taken aback, flinched and trembled.
Whoa. Oh, well, my work here's done. I'll leave the rest to you. It was either chase her with a sword or make out with her in front of the mirror. I figured this was a little bit easier.
Although, pinning me and being like, well, now that Hibiki's out of the picture, like, and getting a little frisky with me. Oh, he would have come out too, don't worry. Thank you, Kureha.
Hibiki, don't even think about trying to escape back into the mirror. I'll be watching.
As I watched Kureha retreat back, I pulled my hands off Hibiki and stood up. Hibiki, sit there.
All right.
Seeing him shivering like that, I felt a little bad for him, but if I let him escape here now, I won't be able to pull another trick like that again. I have to get Hibiki to listen to me right here and now. So the whole reason you did that whole act was to scare me back to the real world?
Well, yeah.
No excuses. You were trying to send me back to my world, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Man, you sure are scary when you're angry. If I'm angry, it's because you wouldn't trust me, Hibiki. Huh? This was because you were worried about me, right? You didn't tell me about your real regrets because you didn't want me to get wrapped up in them. Hibiki didn't answer me right away. He just looked perplexed. Right?
Yes?
Yes. So it was just as I thought. Hibiki was always trying to help me. He wanted to help me get back to my world. That was the reason for everything. Upon understanding the cold, hard truth, I felt a warmth spread through my chest. Well, thank you. For worrying about me, that is. Huh? As I crouched down, extending my hand toward him, Hibiki, who was still on his knees, looked up at me, puzzled. It's fine if you touch me, Hibiki. I know your regrets. They don't come from a place of darkness or evil. That's why when we kissed, my head didn't hurt, and I didn't feel any pain.
Is it really okay?
Hibiki nervously took my hand and then slammed me against the lockers and shoved his tongue down my throat. Listen, I'm just saying, man up a little. He's never going to. We had to kiss him, remember? A cool sensation spread across my palm. It's all right. It'll be all right. I gripped his hand with all my might. Then, filled with determination, I helped pull him up from the ground. Nothing happened. See? I'm totally fine.
Really? I don't want you doing too much or...
I told you already. I want you to trust me. I trust you, Hibiki. That's why it hurts when you lie to me.
I know that now, but... I don't want to get you even more wrapped up in this. You know why I'm still here, right? I can't cross over yet.
I'm just worried. What happens after I go back? I knew that Seiya was still here. Kureha was here too. I cared about him. I wish he understood my feelings. I want Hibiki to know just how much I care about him. So, seeing him there, looking lost and confused, I took a step toward him. Then, we get another CG. I reached out and softly whispered in his ear. I trust you, so I'll tell you. Oh, tell him your name. I'm assuming we have to make that choice. Because, yeah. Oh! Oh, wait, are we still in chapter 8? Oh, God, I scrolled up a little bit too far after that. So we're still in chapter 8. Okay. My name is Spacey Ishiki. That's true. Kureha knew our name because he'd heard our friends say it. Hibiki never knew. Kureha once told me my name is even more important than my life. He told me not to share my name with anyone until I was able to leave this place. But I want you to know. I want to share it with my precious one.
Precious one.
As my face separated from his, he had a look on his face like he didn't understand what had just happened. Hibiki, I want you to trust me more. I want you to rely on me.
I'm sorry.
As he muttered softly, his eyes filled with tears that looked ready to spill over at any moment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I lied to you.
Hibiki. I reached out to touch his cheek and caught a single tear with my finger, wiping the tears of the one I loved. Doing something so simple for him brought me so much joy. Finally, I can touch Hibiki without any worry. At that moment, my heart filled with joy. I love you. From the bottom of my broken heart, Spacey. It had been so long since I'd heard my name, something about it felt fresh and new. And I loved the fact that he whispered so nobody else would hear. That's right. Whenever a friend or family member called me by my name, I didn't have the same feeling. Well, it's Hibiki after all. And because it was him, the pounding feeling in my heart filled me with pure joy. Me too. I love you too, Hibiki. His eyes filled with tears. He was very compassionate, but a little awkward when it came to expressing himself. But there was also courage there, and someone who put my happiness above all else. And that was why I fell in love with him. I can't believe you feel the same way. Hibiki, are you alright? Answer me! Hibiki! Hibiki! He'd just fucking pass out. Just as I felt him leaning over slightly, he collapsed on the spot. I love the fact that us saying that we loved him made him fucking fall over. Kureha comes up. What did you do to him? Nothing. Hibiki's perspective is just like nothing because he's passed out. Before I collapsed, I was truly happy. During my short life and in the long time after my death, I had never been so happy. That's what I thought, at least. At the same time, I was racked with guilt at having lied to her and trapped by my lingering anger. And for her sake, I wanted to cross over. But could I? Could I really let go of the hate that had consumed me for so long? I don't want him to cross over. That seems like it's going to be really painful. You know what I mean? Like, Kureha's ending, we got to stay with him, and that's what I want. That's my best ending, for me. But even the other one, even though it was bittersweet, it's like we still got to see him, and we could kind of be together, even though I was alive and he was dead. He could kind of be with us for the rest of our life until we died, and then we could be together, whatever. That kind of sucks, but at least you could see him. But, if, Hibiki crosses over, you know what I mean? We're never going to see him again. We're not, an immortal being, Me too. I love you too, Hibiki. I could have died happy in that moment. Well, I was already dead, but I was happy, so filled with this soaring emotion. I can't believe you feel the same way. As my consciousness faded, I realized she was more important to me than anything. Nothing could match that. Not even the lingering resentment in this heart of mine. Aww, our love. Got him over wanting to stab a bitch. Now we in chapter 9. Okay, this is his last chapter. We're not getting the ending in this part. We're not going to end in the next, 10 minutes, so. Up we go. After Hibiki lost consciousness, I dragged him to a nearby classroom. What would I do if I ran into a wraith now? I knew it would be safest to call Kureha, but if I did so, I'd have to explain to him why Hibiki passed out. And that would be way too embarrassing. Maybe I should try to wake him. Hibiki, are you alright? He's not waking up. Seems like all I can do is wait. I gazed at him, gently reaching out to his cheek. I was filled with the desire to touch him. As my fingertips brushed against his cheek, I felt his unique warmth. In that moment, all of this, everything, it's all his fault. Isao Tsukigami, I won't forgive you. You stole my happiness. I quickly let go of his hand, and the sounds and images that had flooded to me ceased. Why is he still seeing that? Though I didn't have a headache, the rushing thoughts left me feeling lightheaded. Hibiki... Where? A classroom? That's right. You collapsed, and so I brought you to this nearby classroom. Ah, I see. It's kind of embarrassing. After regaining consciousness, wow, he looked around and pulled himself up, joined by my headset. How are you feeling? Are you hurt?
I I didn't think my heart could beat anymore, but I just got so nervous. I just felt this burst of emotion and, well,
Despite having just woken up, his eyes stared at me, aflame with passion. Oh. His gaze made my heart race, making me forget what I had just seen.
um, can I touch you? I'll do my best to make sure that my thoughts don't flow to you, so.
Oh. Perhaps he had been holding his thoughts back when we touched in the hallway before. I need you to move because you keep attacking my headset and that's you're being a jerk, so don't bite me or I'll chuck you downstairs. I held out my hand and Hibiki gently took it, smiling brightly back at me.
Well?
Nothing. No visions. I guess it's thanks to you, Hibiki.
Well, I think it's all thanks to you that the darkness in my heart is fading. You shined your brilliant light on me. You showed me warmth, happiness. I want to protect that. Your warmth. I didn't ever want to lose it.
Looking a little embarrassed, Hibiki blushed and looked at the ground.
That's why I couldn't tell you about my true regrets. I'm sorry.
Wanting to protect something. Does that mean you were thinking about me?
Yes. I just wanted you to get back to your world, even if it meant you hating me. I was ready to let you go without hesitation. That's why I was acting that way when we kissed.
So you were trying to chase me out of the mirror world?
Yes, but I know that was wrong now. After I locked you out, no matter how much I tried to tell myself it was the right thing to do, there was a gaping hole in my heart. This may sound strange for a ghost to say, but I just felt so cold. The memories with you warmed my heart, and so I found myself waiting by the mirror.
Waiting by the mirror? For me? I hadn't expected him to say that. No matter how many times I called out to him in front of the mirror, he didn't respond.
Of course, shameful as it was, I couldn't stop thinking about you. Once you left the mirror world, I'd figured you'd still go back to the school. In that way, I could always watch over you from the mirror. I hoped you'd remember me, and if you thought of me, you'd look at the mirror and smile every now and again. But the world continued to stay red. I thought it was strange, and then I saw you calling out to me.
I couldn't see him, but he was in the mirror. You knew it was. Like, you knew there was no way he was hiding. He was right there. He knew. He was right in front of me the whole time.
It hurt me so much, but I knew if I responded to you, all the work I'd done to try and send you home would be in vain. I honestly never thought I'd get the chance to see you like this again, to touch you.
Hibiki, looking a little nervous, extended his other hand. He then touched my cheek with it.
You're so warm.
His expression was not like the one before, a ghost captivated with the warmth of the living. Captivated? Why did I say it that way? A ghost captivated with the warmth of the living. Guys. He was simply staring at the person he loved. He's looking so longingly at me. I felt my heart beat faster and faster. Hibiki... Our hands and fingers further intertwined with one another. Thank you for caring about me. He put a lid on his own feelings for me, to push me away and keep me safe. He wanted me to go back to my world and to live a happy life.
What about you? You thought about what you could do for me when you kissed me, right?
That's right. I'm no different than you. Just took me longer to realize how important you are to me. We were very similar indeed, especially our desire to sacrifice ourselves for the sake of the people we love. Perhaps we're some kind of kindred spirits. After all, we both neglect our own desires to protect the people we care about.
In my case, though, it's only you. There's nobody else for me to want to protect.
But it was the same with your mom too, right? That's why you were always putting on a fake smile for her, right?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
When I heard you tell that story, it really reminded me of myself. I've done things to try and keep my mom happy too.
You mean about your future, right?
As if to give him a silent affirmation, I gently squeezed his hand.
You said so before. You're really lost about what to do with your future.
When I was very little, my mother already decided my path for me. I always just accepted that, but when I started to wonder if it was really the right path for me, my mother would just put up a giant wall between us.
Why do you think your mom wanted you to follow that path so badly?
Because I think she wanted me to be like my father.
Sounds like he was someone to look up to.
Yeah, he was. He passed away when I was very young, so I didn't really get to know him.
In that case, why don't you ask about him? Your father, I mean.
Well,
I mean, if the goal is for you to become like your father, I think you should at least know more about him before following in his footsteps. Besides, don't you want to know more about why your mother feels the way she does?
come to think of it, she only ever told me that my father was a wonderful doctor. I had heard about his accomplishments in the medical field countless times, but I hardly knew anything about his personality or character. Maybe I should ask her about how she felt about my father. Hibiki's words sunk deep into my heart. They seemed to take all the dark feelings I'd been suppressing toward my mother and dissolve them away. I kind of feel like what they could do in one, like, you know how, like, we got to see Kureha, we could see him at school, and we could now see him even though we can't see other spirits or whatever. That, like, with Hibiki, we could be able to see him in the mirror, and, like, he could pop up in any mirror. So we could be sitting there in our room, and he just pops up on our desk mirror, and we're like, hey, what's up? Hi. You know what I mean? Like, because, like, he can be in the mirror world, so he would be able to travel outside of the school and pop into any mirror from the, you know what I mean? Like, Hibiki, you're really amazing. I never even thought about that before.
Well, I'm just glad my words were helpful. Now, if only I could find a way to solve my own problems, huh?
You mean about crossing over? Why would you want to bring that up? Don't make him cross over. You love him. Hibiki's expression turned slightly bitter, and he removed his finger from my cheek.
I mean my lingering resentment. I just don't know what to do either. The darkness may be fading, but I still have these feelings.
My resentment, you mean toward Asao Tsukigami? After gathering up my courage to ask, Hibiki looked toward the ground.
Crossing over, that's where my family is. When I think of it like that, I want to see them right away. But I can't forgive him for what he's done to me.
What can I say to him if he doesn't even want to think about forgiving him? Hibiki, what do you want to do to Asao Tsukigami?
What do I want to do to him? Oh, I've thought about that quite a lot. I want him to suffer the way I did. That's all. I want to lock him up in a place where nobody can save him. Stab him in one place one day, another the next. One day cut off his legs. Well, as a ghost, I don't know if I could actually harm him, but I could cause him pain. Inflicting pain little by little. I think eventually I could turn him into a wraith. You know the thing about wraiths? They're constantly filled with the pain of hunger. They're hungry, they're lonely, they merely wander immersed in sorrow. That's why they attack people.
I couldn't help but cringe. I felt this conversation was turning dark. Yeah. You say attack, but in the mirror world there wouldn't be anyone for them to attack, right?
Exactly.
His smile grew wider and wider, and now he's got crazy eyes. Do you see the crazy in his eyes?
Can you imagine what would happen? Consumed with hunger, unable to bear it. I wonder if his soul would just wither away.
I could feel his hand in mine begin to grow frigid. My head hurt so much, but I couldn't let go. I wouldn't let go. If I do, if Ibiki knew that he was harming me again, he might try to send me home. He would have said he's dangerous. He would have told me I shouldn't be around him anymore. Then, there's still a part of him that's drawn to the darkness. He said before that the darkness in him was getting weaker, but if given the chance, it still comes back. He was emotionally unstable. Those words came into my mind. This is what Seiya was worried about. But I couldn't give up. If I really am his light, then... I tightly squeezed his hand. I would have to warm his heart.
Spacey,
Warm? Yes, very. The expression on Hibiki's face changed, and the chill from his hands gradually subsided. Yet his pupils got bigger. Well, his irises, you know what I mean? Because his eyes get tiny when he gets crazy eyes. The chill I felt in his hands before was something very different from his normal cold. Um, I guess I kind of went off the rails a bit there, huh? Just a bit. S- Sorry. But if I can't cross over, then you won't be able to go home. I just don't know what to do. Anyway, that's how I really feel. Those are my feelings, too. How could I help him cross over? After everything he experienced and spending decades consumed by hate for what Asao Tsukigami did to him, there was no way I alone could fix things. Yet as these feelings of weakness rose within me, the darkness in him will return, and he'll be at risk of becoming a wraith too. For the time being, I needed to talk to Hibiki. If only there was a way to let go of your hatred for Asao Tsukigami. But I know that's not something you can just do either. Without answering, Hibiki just let his gaze wander around the room. Um, for now, how about we head back inside the mirror? Yeah, you're right. If we stay here, there's a risk a wraith could come attack me again. And we'll stop there and we'll continue. We're in chapter 9, so I don't know if we'll get our ending in the next part or the one after, but we're getting close. So, anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.